people, and welcome to Messages from the Heart, where we can take some time out from the constant external noise and just take a moment to focus inward and listen to the voice of our heart. So the message for today relates a lot to what I've called my videos, Messages from the Heart. The message for today is, what does it mean to be open-hearted, to live from the heart, to speak from the heart, to listen to the heart? So I'd just like to share some of my thoughts on what that means for me, because I think that we need this information, we need this experience, we need, I think, to understand what that means for ourselves individually. I'm just sharing what it means for me, because particularly the globe is going, the planet is going through tremendous shifts, tremendous change, tremendous challenge, also tremendous opportunity, but we need to see those opportunities. We need to see most of what's happening as opportunities. And we're going through a difficult time in Australia at the moment. Fortunately, in South Australia, where I am, we're good for now. But our other states, particularly New South Wales and Victoria, not so good. And I know there's lots of places in the world that are not so good. And I'm just hoping that wherever you are in the world today, that you're feeling okay, that you can find some kind of peace, some kind of gratitude, and some kind of joy in your life, like wherever you are and whatever is happening to you or happening for you. That's another thing about understanding, coming from the heart, that life is actually happening for us and through us and not to us. That takes us out of victimhood, which is more a mind and ego fear-based thought and a feeling, and it takes us back into the heart to understand, how is life working for me, how is life working through me, what are the gifts in this, whatever it is I'm experiencing. So just to understand a little bit like where I'm coming from with that, I noticed over the years, I think I've always been a sort of a heart-based person, but that when you're immature and young and like spiritually mature, all of that, coming from the heart can get confused with coming from emotions. So there's two very different things. And also I think, particularly in years gone by, people that were very heart-centered and people that came from the heart, people that were very empathetic, that were very compassionate, often and kind, often that was confused with weakness. But I think we're better than that now. I think most of us can see that that's not the case at all. And I think most of us can see that empathy and compassion, and coming from a heart-based perspective, helps us to live in cooperation and collaboration rather than competition, which is what we've always done. If we look through history, the people that speak the loudest, that make their presence felt the hardest and the loudest, they are the ones that are the ones in charge. They are the ones that are our leaders. And I'm happy to say that at this point in our history, there are a couple of leaders that we have in the world who are displaying the empathy, the heart-based living and the heart-based speaking, which at the same time, they're combining that with the knowledge and wisdom of the mind as well, and bringing that together in the heart and coming forth from that. So they're living in heart and mind coherence, because they are very wise, intelligent people, but they haven't forgotten the importance of empathy and compassion. And we need more leaders like that in the world. I think if we're going to grow above all of this, what's happening, because this huge upheaval that is happening is causing us to look at what we are doing, what we have been doing that wasn't working, how are we taking care of our planet, how are we taking care of our people, how are we taking care of ourselves. And so years ago, when I first started I used to do spiritual retreats. I used to do most of them in Bali. I do in Adelaide as well. But I did a lot in Bali, and beautiful time in my life, beautiful place in the world. And I think I started in 2008, and I always, my very first retreat I called Living from the Inside Out, which meant to me meant living from the heart, like bringing the heart and the mind together, and then understanding all of that from the inside and then bringing it out. Now, I thought I definitely believed that, and I understood it to a level. So I thought that I was really doing all of that. I was on a particular level. But since 2008, as we grow and evolve, I've come to understand this in such a much deeper level. As we know, there is always levels of understanding and levels of experience. And whilst I was teaching all of that and bringing all that into my workshops and into my retreats, the embodiment of that for me now is so much greater than it was. And this doesn't mean that if we live from the heart, that we're ignoring our brain, or that our brain's not okay. We need our mind, we need our brain. We need all of that for the knowledge and the information and all of that kind of stuff. But then there's a deeper knowledge that we have within the heart. And so my belief is that our heart is our center of truth. This is what I used to say way back in 2008 and even before that. The heart is our center of truth and love. And I believe that, and I understood it in my head to a level. But I'm really surprised. I don't know if surprised is the right word, but I'm really pleased anyway that amazed at how much when we feel that in our body, how much different it is, and how much more impactfully we bring that into our own life, and then we bring that into the life of others, just in how we speak and how we live. And even when we don't speak, sometimes it's important not to speak. Silence is good sometimes. And so science is now telling us, and I'm really pleased about this, that we have neurons in our heart that mimic the brain neurons. So it's like our heart is like another brain in a way. It definitely has neurons that mimic heart, that mimic brain neurons, and that work the same as that. So all of this helps us to understand how amazingly profound that we are, like understanding that. And this is, you can research this. The Heart Math Institute is a really good place to research this. They have so much information about the heart and the mind and the coherence. When we bring that together in a coherent energy, how powerful that is, and that shows us how powerful we are. And knowing that we're this powerful, and if we directed all of this power to living from the heart, and how do we know that we're doing this? How do we know that we're living from the heart? Well, one thing that I do is that when I'm feeling a certain way about something that I don't like, or when I'm responding to something, a situation, or to a person in a way that I don't like, or I'm undecided as to how I should respond or how I should be, I ask myself the question. Now, I try and do this every time. Sometimes I forget, but I'm doing it more and more. I ask myself the question, is this coming from love, or is this coming from fear? Is my response, is my feeling coming from love or coming from fear? Or does this situation need more love brought into it? And how I know the difference, how do we know the difference? Whether it's our brain telling us, yeah, sure, you're coming from love, go ahead, do that. How I know the difference is, and how we can all know the difference is, that if a particular feeling, like a response or a feeling, if we decide on a particular way to respond to a situation or a particular feeling, if we are feeling tight in the chest or contracted by that response, then that's not love. If we are feeling free, if we are feeling like not tight around the chest and tight around the shoulders and maybe tight around the head, the neck, if we are feeling free and unconcerned about our response, then that is how I know it's coming from love, because love is an expanded feeling. It's an expansion. You think about when someone that you love or something that you love or somewhere where you love to be, how you feel. You feel open-chested, open-hearted, open-minded even. You know, your eyes are more wide open. You're more sensory, more receiving through the senses. Whereas if you're coming from a fear, a particular, and fear doesn't have to be like absolute panic. It can even just be doubt, showing you that there's something to be afraid of. Then you're feeling more tight, more constricted. So that's how I tell the difference. And so I would just offering this for your consideration, that we have a look at how much in our life are we living from the heart. How much are we merging the energy of our mind and our heart together, and becoming from a more coherent heart-mind coherent perspective, and perhaps to ask ourselves the question, like, is this a fear response or is this a love response? And to know how the answer to that, notice how we're feeling. And usually it's around here that we feel it, sometimes in the stomach, but it can be wherever. But you will feel either an expansion or a constriction, and that our feelings are our GPS. Our feelings, I believe, are the promptings of our soul, who I believe our soul works through our heart as our main information base, our GPS system that's saying, yep, go this way, okay, that's not so good, feeling uncomfortable, that kind of thing. So just to finish this off, I would like to invite you to just do this very brief exercise with me, and just to connect to the heart, and to just make a connection and to see how that feels. Now, always we need to bring our attention to our breath and our body. Now, I know that when we're in a situation, we can't, often it's not okay to just say, okay, just wait, got to breathe, got to sort myself out here. But we don't. It doesn't have to be like that. If we practice this on our own, then we become adept at doing it. We master it, and we can do it in a moment. We can just take a breath, and it happens in a nanosecond, this connection. But I believe that we need to practice it on our own first, so that it becomes our go-to. So that it becomes our go-to, and we do it in a split second, just like that. And I've noticed myself doing this more and more and more, where it feels like almost that time stands still in our way of looking at time, and I have this window where I can make and I'm not rushing the decision. It just seems, it allows the decision to come up. Okay, so the exercise that I recommend is, so first, slow our breathing. So breathing in for the count of 5, hold for a moment, and then slowly exhaling for the count of 5. Inhaling for the count of 5, and exhaling for the count of 5. And then, if you like, just touch the space of your heart, like I like to touch the energetic space of my heart in the center of my chest. Some people like to do this. I just sort of do this, and just keep breathing slowly in and slowly out, and trying to make your exhalation longer than your inhalation. As we do this, we engage our parasympathetic nervous system. We engage our vagus nerve, which is the healer and the restorer and the relaxation part of our nervous system. So slowly breathing in and exhaling. Breathing in health and vitality, and breathing out tension and stress. And as we continue to do this, we're connecting more and more to this feeling in the center of our chest. And beginning to notice how we feel, how much more peaceful we feel, and how expanded we feel compared to before. Perhaps our shoulders are more relaxed, our chest is not tight, our neck feels more relaxed, our face and our jaw feels more relaxed. So just notice this feeling compared to how we were feeling before. And continuing to breathe. Okay, so I recommend that you make this a daily practice and several times a day if you wish to do this, if you wish to really know the connection with your heart. And as we slow our breath, we slow the mind, because the mind follows the breath. So that's how we bring our mind into coherence with our heart. So I hope that this makes sense for you. And just on leaving, I would like to just add one more little thing, particularly because we need this. We need to strengthen this part of our body so much at the moment. And coming from a heart perspective, not a fear-based perspective, from a taking care of ourselves, a self-care perspective. So if we find this spot on our chest, so we find the notch in our clavicle here, go down about 2 fingers and it's there. And if we tap there, we have a gland there called the thymus gland. Now the thymus gland is very importantly and strongly connected to our immune system. So when we tap this spot, and tapping it firmly, not hard, but just firm, not floppy, but just firmly, we get a feeling of expansion, of openness, and we begin to breathe more. So this activates this thymus gland, which is very important in our immune system. So that's something that we can do anytime. It's something we can do if we're feeling stressed, with the idea of breathing more slowly and calming down. If we have pain anywhere even, I've had people tell me that they had a pain somewhere and they started tapping this thymus gland, and with the idea of releasing the pain, it went away. So that's something that I would like to just leave you with. Now tapping your thymus gland whenever you think about it. Okay. So I hope that this has made sense for you and that has been helpful. And as always, let's love ourselves enough to do this. Ciao for now, and much love.